I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are Velocities in Music. Today, a request. What year is this, Tom?
This is this year.
Really?
2010. Yep.
God Is An Astronaut. This is a post-rock album. It's also a request from our favorite record company in the whole world, Pinnacle Records.
Darren. Good guy.
And this album is just that. It's post-rock. It's Irish post-rock, which is kind of cool. You know, any band from Ireland is going to be cool. But to describe this, I mean, other bands in this genre, Saxon Shore, Godspeed You Black Emperor, From Monument to Masses, Explosions in the Sky. I'd say that where God Is An Astronaut falls into that kind of... It's Red Sparrows. That's another one that I feel like this really would resemble.
Because it's got some of the heaviness.
Right, it does, and even some more of that prolific story elements of like the end of the world. Even though I don't know if this is necessarily about the end of the world or anything like that, but I really feel like where this is really set apart from other post-rock acts is the fact that it's very structured. Whether or not they're actually verses and choruses, there's a lot of parts that are that repeat. You know, so it's chorus-like or verse-like, and it's not always prevalent. It's not like they're following a pop structure or anything, but there are repeated parts, which is something that you don't always find or is not that prevalent in post-rock. Post-rock is kind of a derivation of of prog, actually, of prog and experimental songwriting. This is post-rock, and so it's kind of a different twist on it, and I like that because it makes the songs catchy and accessible and memorable, more so than other post-rock bands. I feel like that's the biggest problem with post-rock. The biggest challenge for those bands is that it's hard to remember some of the songs.
And in that way, in the performance and the songwriting aspects, I think they're a lot closer to Saxon Shore for that reason. Yet the production is almost... It's got a lot of industrial elements, a lot of kind of noisiness.
Guitar layering.
Yes, noisy, but at the same time very tight, very constrained, especially in the drumming. You get the drumming. It was one of the best parts of the album for me. And not only in the performance, but in the production, because it sounds kind of Nine Inch Nails or Orgy-ish at times, yet it's still very tight, very precise. So I really liked that aspect.
Yeah, the guitars were a highlight for me. The guitar layering and just the overall quality of the guitar parts and the songwriting I felt was quite strong. My biggest criticism, I guess, about Age of the Fifth Sun is that it just doesn't have, you know, where with Saxon Shore and Red Sparrows and especially Explosions in the Sky, I really felt emotionally invested in the music, and that's something that I feel like with post-rock, since there is no vocals or lyrics or that dimension of the music, that this is just more one-dimensional. I didn't have that emotional connection, and so the songs are just kind of more flat to me.
I agree. I don't think that these were as emotionally charged. And that is a little bit of a problem, and I think it brings it down a little bit when you compare it to a lot of other bands in the post-rock category. But at the same time, the instrumentals were very good. The production is just very clear-cut. I mean, you compare this to like Explosions in the Sky, whereas Explosions in the Sky is very real-sounding.
Yes, very.
This is just... It's not all electronic at all, but it's just produced so sparkling, clean manner that
no reverb.
Oh no, it's just. I mean, yeah. Instead of like reverb on the instruments, they rely on these synth pads to kind of create to fill in the gaps in the sound and create that kind of panoramic atmosphere. And so that's very very different, very interesting take on things.
Kind of an Omnimax view.
Yes, pretty much. But so it's a different take. And so in a way, I think that the mix and the instrumentals sound maybe even more impressive or just different if you prefer the real sounding stuff. But I think it also, for that reason, lacks some of the emotion.
Yeah, and it's a good play. And actually, to tell you the truth, I did like this a little better with each subsequent listen. You know, once I got up to the fourth and fifth listen, I was liking this more than on the first and second listen.
It's an addictive kind of sound.
It is.
But just like we said, again, as compared to other post-rock, it's addictive for completely different reasons. It's addictive because it's just cool sounding. It just sounds cool, and it's fun to listen to all the sounds that are going on and these synths that just sound so ominous, rather than sounding pretty and you know, alluring in that regard.
Got some track picks?
Yeah, I'm going to go track 2, In the Distance Fading, and then track 6 and 7, Parallel Highway and Shining throughout those two really flowed well together. I got to say, I like how this album rocks out at times.
Yeah, it does. It does a good job of that. And that's nice, because sometimes, I feel like post-rock really has to be sensitive to the intensity levels of the album as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Track 3, Lost Kingdom for me. That's my clear favorite. And then 6, Parallel Highway, and track 8, Age of the Fifth Sun, the title track, I felt was very strong. Overall, though, I really don't feel like there's a weak song on this album.
No, and one thing I want to point out, too, is that I love how not self-indulgent these guys are. This album has a great pace to it. It moves along, it flows well. You don't feel like you're sitting on songs for way too long. They just kind of hit you with it, and then when you're ready to move on, they move on to another song, and that's really, really admirable.
What are you feeling?
I think I'm going to go 79. I don't think it's quite strong enough to get in the 80s range, but I think it's like the king of the 70s range, like it's really good.
I feel similarly. I feel like it's in that 70 solid range. We're doing an episode tonight, a Philosophies episode on our scale to kind of explain, give us some feedback to you guys about like how we determine our scales. But pretty much anything in that 70s range is a solid effort.
Yeah.
I feel like since there's other post-rock bands that I feel are stronger than this that I put in the upper 70s to lower 80s range, this is going to be more like a 72 for me. So that's what I'll settle with.
All right.
But what do you guys think? Have you heard of God Is An Astronaut? Being from Ireland, I don't know how much press you guys are getting. These are Equestras. I'd never heard of them. I don't know about you. But what do you guys think? Is this one of God Is An Astronaut's better albums? Do you like them? Do you feel like we did a good job of assessing it? Do you get emotionally attached to God Is An Astronaut and Age of the Fifth Sun? Let us know at www.velocitiesmusic.com or our YouTube channel. I am Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.